piece of energy. It is right there. That is what is going to run through the four corners, make its way to the Midwest, the South, the Midwest, and eventually along the East Coast. You see how it gets a little more strung out as it's making its way eastbound. We have a little energy dipping down from Canada as well. This is going to translate to rain. Now, we do have some of that, Pacific moisture in this. We do have a little oomph in the atmosphere. But it's not like we're going to see a big tornadic outbreak, essentially some stronger thunderstorms, stronger winds, a little bit of hail in these two areas that you see highlighted tonight on the screen. The possibility for 1 inch or greater hail, that is there as well. And, of course, those gustier winds. So let's see it all come together. This is starting tonight, 11, 12, 1 tomorrow morning. You see the storms coming through Joplin, Springfield, Branson, also throughout portions of the Midwest. And everything will just continue to move east. There isn't loads of moisture with this either, so that's a little problematic for the severe weather, which is great news, right? But thunderstorms Wednesday night, rain into Thursday. Look at the drop in temperatures. Essentially, we're going back to average for a lot of us here across the country. We're going from extremely hot to a little bit warm, but still above average for a lot of places. There will be moisture drawn up from the Gulf of Mexico, but again, it's not going to be loads and loads and lows. So there is that potential for some flooding here. I don't think we're going to see, widespread flooding. I think we'll see potentially some localized flooding as this whole system progresses eastbound, goes through the south. This is Friday early morning, so if you're up early and out the door, you might run into some wet roads. It clears out on Friday, and I got to tell you, this weekend is pretty quiet across the board. Overall, maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain. So that is also something that will limit some of that severe weather, is not having enough moisture to get things going. Winds will be gusty with this, 20, 30 mile an hour winds, but that blows through fairly quickly. So maybe a little turbulence here along the East Coast over the next couple of days if you are doing any flying. I know that a lot of people have their winter breaks this week. Nashville, it storms for you Thursday into Thursday night. But Reynolds, as quickly as this comes in, it's going to be out of here.
Very true. Quick hitter, no doubt. Let's talk about
cool air insight ahead on this midweek edition of America's Morning Headquarters. How high winds are helping fuel. Back into America's Morning Headquarters. Let's pay a virtual visit to Nashville on the banks of the Cumberland River. Plenty of sunshine today. Highs around 70. That's before the clouds thicken tonight and the showers move into Music City Thursday with occasional rumbles of thunder. Watch out for that. You see the Batman building over there. Nothing severe expected at this point, but of course, even with just some of these more towering cues and bigger thunderstorms, Jim, you can get good downpours and some gusty winds out of them where you're like, whoa, you can kind of run for cover if you're on Broadway.
Right, and then you get inside, you're so...
You'll wind down by late morning. It's been 3 days of flooding rains, mudslides, sinkholes, and deep snow for the Golden State. That's because these high-altitude ribbons of water are loaded with rich tropical moisture. Meteorologist Molly McCollum shows us. And Molly mentioned, if you heard, an annual rainfall, and one place has gotten their annual rainfall already. Jim's going to show us that in the West.
Yeah, we're talking about downtown Los Angeles.
We will bring you news stories every day throughout the month of February. You can catch more coverage on Pattern. Here's what's ahead today at noon. Time to hang like that.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it freezing, or are you warm enough in that wetsuit? Because those wetsuits aren't exactly like super warm.
It was in Canada, off Vancouver.
Another hour of America's Morning Headquarters. We take you to all right. Let's have a look at what's going to cause that rain, and it's coming from the west. So we have this big trough. Here's some energy. There's another piece. This piece here is what's going to go through the four corners, make its way through the center of the country, and bring us some rain and quickly move off. It's a fast mover. I know that it's still west, but I'll tell you, over the next 24 hours, it's going to move quick, 24 to 36 hours. There is a possibility for some stronger thunderstorms in Illinois, also portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. It doesn't look like a huge severe weather outbreak, but some lightning, some heavier downpours, and that potential for hail in these thunderstorms, too. We're talking 1 inch or greater, and 1 inch is considered a severe thunderstorm if you have hail an inch or more. So let's take you through the timeline. This is Wednesday evening going into Thursday morning, early morning. There are a few storms. Again, you can see this is not like a huge significant thing, but it could be where you get a thunderstorm right over you and you get those gusty winds. You're like, whoa, what was that that blew through? Temperatures, they'll be cooling off, but essentially we're going back down to average. So we're like going from really hot too warm here with our temperatures. And one of the problems is we are getting moisture off the Gulf, some moisture from the Pacific, but we don't have loads of it. So there is, again, a slight possibility for some flooding, but I got to tell you, it would be localized, not widespread, because overall we're going to only get an inch, maybe 2 inches of rain. But if that all happens all at once, that's where you run into the problem. Look at this. By Friday afternoon, hey, we're good. And I'll tell you what, kicking off a beautiful weekend here in the east. There are your rainfall totals, pretty measly for the most part here with this system. The winds will be gusty, though. I think the biggest problem with these winds will be turbulence with flights that are flying through the south. 20, 30 mile an hour winds for us as we head through Thursday afternoon. Also maybe a little breezy if you're trying to play some sort of sport. You know, the balls could get hit a ball if you're playing tennis and just not land where you want it to, unless you have really good, wind things on the. What's wrong with me? I can't think of that name. It's early morning. What are the barriers you put in the tennis court? And they're the wind guards, not wind guards.
Oh, like the
heck is
nets, the kind of the wind nets that are on the on the fencing.
There's a name for.
Really, a specific name for it? You ask the bubbler.
I'll be back.
Steve, come into the studio if you're watching.
I'll be back. You'll see them on the National Mall. It's usually around May, I feel like, is when they bloom, right? Or is it March, April-ish area?
Yeah.
It's right around that time period, yeah. Well, ahead on this midweek edition of America's Morning Headquarters, how high winds are helping fuel a southwest. Welcome back into America's Morning Headquarters. Let's pay a virtual visit to Nash Vegas on the banks of the Cumberland River. Plenty of sunshine today. You can see the Batman building, as it's called there, behind me, and all of the landscape here. Highs around 70 before the clouds thicken into night, and then showers rain in here on Music City on Thursday with the occasional rumbles of thunder. So basically Mother Nature making her own music. We're not expecting anything severe at this point, but Jim, you could get a little lightning strike or two as these storms roll through.
Yeah, and hopefully be inside and not put yourself in harm.
To get one, thankfully, because Jim, that flash flood warning you were talking about, 7 million are under that right now. And Jonathan Bigliotti with our partners at CBS News joins us live from Rancho Palos Verdes with the very latest. Jonathan, if I didn't know better, I would think the damage behind you was from an earthquake.
And that's what it looks like, Stephanie. Good morning.
With our partners at CBS News, thank you so much. And I know it is tough work out there covering all this, so we really appreciate it. All right, we want to now get you out the door in the southeast where things are quiet for us, and we've needed the rain because it's been so dry. Well, we're going to bring you news stories every day throughout the month of February. You can catch more coverage on Pattern. And speaking of Pattern, here's what's ahead today at noon. Felicia, I just took a breath. I got too excited about what was coming up here. Ahead on this next hour of America's Morning Headquarters, we take you to comes from Champagne, France. Otherwise, it's technically sparkling wine. That's one of the rules of the world, that we have here. And I'll tell you what, you can call this a vortex that's coming in. This is what's going to cause that messy weather into places like Champagne. It actually goes through the Four Corners, through the Midwest, gives us rain into the south, and then eventually along the entire East Coast. Look how it's all stretched out, though. And so it is going to bring us rain, but it's not this really intense, well-defined ball of energy. With that said, we could get some stronger thunderstorms, some wind damage, and hail in these areas, too. When it's an inch or greater, that means it's at severe limits. So do watch out for some of those pieces of hail to come flopping down onto you. As we go through tonight and then really into early tomorrow morning is when we see the storms develop. You can see them racing in to Kansas, into Missouri as well. And then as we go through the morning hours, some more showers. But you can notice they're not too intense, not a lot of heavy rainfall. We do have some Pacific moisture coming in with this vorticity. We also have the Gulf that's bringing up some of that rain as well. So Springfield, Wednesday night into Thursday, look how quick it's in and out. But I also want to point out this. We really don't cool off. We go from really hot to warm to really hot again as we head into next week. The only place that actually gets really cool is the Northeast on Saturday. That's where we will have temperatures that will be slightly below average, but we pop right back up again. There's really no end in sight for the heat. The moisture that's drawn up, it's pretty limited, and so I don't think we're going to have too many issues here with the flooding, very localized if we do see it. And you'll notice that this is a Thursday event. Through the mornings, Indianapolis first gets the rain. The clouds will come through, and we get the rain a little bit bit later in the south for us, and then everything sweeps through Friday. Clears out fairly quickly by the evening. We're all pretty much finished with this, with just a few lingering showers perhaps there into the Appalachians. But overall, Reynolds, 1 to 2 inches, not a big deal. The wind, though, will be bumpy for anyone traveling. And I just saw there's been a couple planes that have reached like 800 miles an hour thanks to the jet stream. Have you seen that?
I have seen that.
Or over 800 miles an hour, which is, and it did cause some shaking in some of those planes that I saw.
My goodness. Wish we could get a
week edition of America's Morning Headquarters. We'll explain.
Wow, that's going to play big dividends for some of your trout rivers up there.
Yeah. Welcome back to America's Morning Headquarters. Let's pay a virtual visit to Nash Vegas on the banks of the Cumberland River. Plenty of sunshine today, just beautiful. You can see the Batman building with no problem, no clouds obscuring it. Highs around 70, though those clouds are going to thicken tonight. And then we are going to see rain in Music City for our Thursday. Occasional rumbles of thunder, so basically Mother Nature composing its own orchestra here. Nothing severe at this point, but on the stormy side, when you get one of these thunderstorms, you know you get some of those strong winds sometimes. That kind of like a gust comes, you're like, where did that come from? Little downburst, Jim, and some of these can catch you off guard sometimes.
You know what I think is going to happen with some of those downpours?
River over California will wind down by late morning. It's been 3 days of flooding rains, mudslides, sinkholes, and deep snow for the Golden State.
And water rescues, right? We've had those. That's because these high-altitude ribbons of water are loaded with rich tropical moisture. Meteorologist Molly McCullum shows us. That is something we don't want to see, but I mean, these, you know, look at what just happened. This is a case in point of exactly what the, you know, some of the latest data is showing us, where we're getting just phenomenal amounts of rain. This is the average rainfall in downtown Los Angeles for a year. This is what we've gotten in 52 days.
52 days. And by the way, there's more that's coming. It is the fourth wettest February on record. There's a chance we could get to the top spot. And look at our number here, 12.83. Jim, it's not a lot. We need an inch, a tenth, 1 and 2.
Right, 1.15 is that what we need?
Yeah, to tie it.
Tie it.
We could get that.
That isn't a lot. You're right.
It's not a lot to get to the top spot here.
The bulk of this next event for Sunday, Monday, early Tuesday goes into the Northwest. But that doesn't mean the tail can't come down and get you in Southern California. So that's way under the dry out there.
That's way out there.
Before it comes
what we have now is this little piece of energy causing the rain today. That atmospheric river, that moisture is kind of a little south of there now.
That's what's scooted off to the east. Look at this, south of Vegas this morning, some thunderstorms. A lot of lift with this. We had heavy rain this morning.
4 million in the flood advisory warnings.
I know, right? And now you've got it kind of moving up to San Bernardino. So it's coming to an end quickly here. The sun will come out, which will be kind of nice. We may have a spit shower here or there, but now you'll be on the sinking side of that disturbance. But either way, guys, we're not over, Steph. We still got to go through March and April, and we still have signs of El Nino, even though it's waning.
Until then, guys, you're going to have sunshine tomorrow through the weekend, okay? So, Reynolds.
Where's that glass half full?
I know.
Reynolds, get me that. Yeah.
We got to show them some sunshine, Reynolds.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean.
And we will bring you new stories every day throughout the month of February. You can also catch more coverage on Pattern. Speaking of Pattern, here's what's ahead today at noon. Felicia Combs will be joining me. Or is that like a one and done?
No, I would totally do it again.
You would do it again.
Now, I can't